as you get older. Yep. You have to look. You want to keep your look on your hands. I'm not reaching for no gun. I'm not reaching for no gun. Can I bring my phone?
Might unlock all kind of strip clubs in Omaha. We don't know. This is musty. This is disgusting at the highest level.
Floyd Mayweather has fired another jab at Terence Crawford following his recent traffic incident. And it was a brutal one. Commenting on Crawford's over-the-top celebration after defeating Canelo Alvarez, Mayweather scoffed at the way the Omaha native carried himself. If beating Canelo makes Crawford act like he rules boxing, then what would happen if he had actually beaten better fighters like Manny? Mayweather remarked. He argued that every fighter should know his limits. In his view, Crawford's victory, one Mayweather himself achieved without issue years ago, left him far too excited, proving that he simply isn't on the same level.
Another point. Floyd Mayweather, he don't carry no gun. Floyd don't carry guns.
That criticism didn't stop at boxing. Mayweather also brought up Crawford's troubles outside the ring, pointing to his recent run-in with Omaha Police. It's unfortunate and embarrassing, Floyd said, stressing that instead of making headlines or incidents like this, Crawford should have been with his family, celebrating his victory and his place in history.
Terence Crawford, Floyd Mayweather. We even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in the fight between Terence and Floyd. And I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who will win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd will win that
Yes,
fight.
sir. I love you, Terence.
Always figures it out.
Yeah, he's
shot master.
yeah, his IQ in
But
that
the
shit.
funny thing
Later
about
that
it-
day, police released a statement detailing their version of events. According to the report, while officers were speaking with the driver, one of them noticed a loaded weapon lying on the driver's side floorboard. For safety reasons, all 4 passengers were ordered out of the car at gunpoint. After checking identification, the driver was confirmed to be Terence Crawford, who was then cited for reckless driving. The statement also addressed the firearms found in the vehicle, clarifying that one passenger, identified as a member of Crawford's security team, was carrying a legally registered firearm. Police emphasized that all 4 occupants were legally permitted.
Crawford being harassed by cops and pulled over by the cops right after the parade. Diabolical.
Who had celebrated him at the parade just hours before were now watching the same champion in handcuffs on Cass Street. Many have voiced frustration, saying the night had stolen away from what should have been a weekend of pride for Omaha. Others criticized Crawford directly, accusing him of reckless driving and poor decision-making. Local station KV quoted an officer from the scene who said the firearm was spotted when Crawford reached down for his documents, including license and registration.
Once they had stopped, Crawford was identified as the driver. According to police, officers observed a firearm on the floorboard on the driver's side. All 4 people, including members of Crawford's security team, were ordered out of the vehicle at gunpoint. I spoke with the head of Crawford's security this afternoon, who says he's still shaken up.
The officer explained that as Crawford leaned forward, a firearm became visible near his feet. That sighting prompted the decision to order all occupants out of the vehicle at gunpoint. According to the same account, everyone inside was placed in handcuffs until the situation was resolved. During the stop, Crawford could be heard clarifying that he was not reaching for the weapon, with his hands raised. He repeatedly insisted that he was cooperating.
I got a crazy clip to show you guys right now. But isn't that a policeman holding a gun to the 3-time undisputed world champ Terence Crawford's hat? Why did he do that was so bad that you had
That account was later challenged by Crawford's security chief, Qasim Shabazz, who offered a very different version of events. He outright contradicted the officer's statement, insisting that Crawford never reached for any documents because he didn't have them with him. According to Shabazz, Crawford had already informed the officer that his license and registration were at home. He had already told them, so there was no reason for him to reach for anything. Shabazz said he added that both he and Crawford disclosed at the very beginning of the stop that they were carrying firearms, as required under Nebraska law. Despite that transparency, the situation still escalated. Bud said, "I have a firearm too." The cop on his side went ballistic, totally unhinged. He kept yelling, "Get your hands up! Get out of the car! Don't reach! Don't reach!" Shabazz recounted, but there was never a gun in sight. Everyone thought we were going to die, man.
That was a nightmare. Yeah. You know, future husband, just had a brand new child and, you know, children and, you know, and stuff like that. And to know that I almost lost my life last night because we had a police officer that don't know how.
Shabazz also disputed the allegation of reckless driving. He said Crawford directly questioned the officer about whether radar had been used to determine his speed. According to Shabazz, the officer admitted that no radar was involved. Well, how do you know I was speeding if you don't have radar? Crawford asked. Shabazz claimed he recorded the exchange, capturing the officer on camera saying, "I cannot. I admit that I do not have radar."
You telling me the police at Omaha don't know who Terence Crawford is? Putting a gun in his face? Ridiculous.
The contradiction between the official account and Shabazz's version has only fueled further debate. Crawford's camp pointed to Shabazz's statement as evidence that the stop was mishandled, while others argued that reckless driving can still be determined without radar if officers observe it firsthand. Shabazz described the incident inside the car as tense and frightening, noting that all 4 passengers, including himself, were handcuffed during the stop. He said the escalation felt unnecessary, especially since they had already disclosed their firearms and attempted to cooperate. At Crawford's request, a police supervisor and lieutenant were dispatched to the scene, and their presence helped oversee the remainder of the encounter before the citation was finalized.
Huh? Hey, yo, that cop gotta be some hater, bro. Hey, yo, that's like the NYPD holding Derek Jeter on gunpoint and arresting him after the Yankee championship parade in New York City. It doesn't make sense. It wouldn't even happen. So this cop gotta be some.
By then, however, the video circulating online had already shaped the narrative. Fans debated whether police had overreacted or whether Crawford had put himself in a compromising situation. Some viewed the incident as a blemish on what should have been a triumphant day for Omaha, while others echoed Mayweather's criticism, arguing that a fighter of Crawford's stature should not be at the center of such controversy. The Omaha Police Department quickly responded to the public attention. Chief Todd Schmader ordered an internal affairs investigation to review the officer's conduct, and Mayor John Ewing voiced his support, confirming that both he and the chief were aware of the video's widespread circulation. The review will focus on whether proper procedures were followed when the firearm was spotted and when the decision was made to order passengers out at gunpoint.
Just let the man enjoy his great moment. He's a great fighter. And I see a lot of immature stuff, and I don't like the way things is going with.
Mayweather has added even more controversy to the conversation by framing the stop as an example of what separates their careers. According to Floyd, a fighter's legacy is defined not only by victories in a ring, but also by the choices made when the spotlight is brightest. In his view, Crawford tarnished his own celebration by ending up in handcuffs on the very night he was being honored.
Wow, he had his gun drawn. Here's what TMZ wrote. Terence Crawford ordered out of the car by a cop holding a gun on a video. It says Terence Crawford was forced out of a car at gunpoint by police officers with tense exchange caught on video, and it's leading to an internal.
Crawford's camp has remained silent beyond a brief statement, with a spokeswoman confirming on Sunday evening that he had no further comment. Neither he nor his team has responded to the citation, the police account, or Shabazz's version of events. And for now, the internal affairs investigation remains ongoing while the citation stands. Meanwhile, tensions between Mayweather and Crawford continue to escalate, and the wider boxing world hasn't stayed quiet, with legends, analysts, and promoters all weighing in, proving that when names as big collide, the debate is bound to spill far beyond the ring.
But the damage is already done, my guy. The damage is already done. I'll be surprised if Terence Bud Crawford comes back to the city just disrespectful to the face of boxing. Not saying that the man's above the law, but Lord child, what was y'all doing? Gunpoint?
Oscar de la Hoya never wanted to stay out of Mayweather conversation, made it clear where he stands. He scoffed at the idea that Crawford's win over Canelo puts him anywhere near Floyd's level, calling the comparison nonsensical. De La Hoya reminded fans that Mayweather fought Canelo when the Mexican star was younger, fresher, and viewed as a tougher challenge. Yet Floyd made him look like a beginner. Crawford, on the other hand, had to go a full 12 rounds and work for his victory. That, Oscar argued, is why the gap between them isn't even close. In his eyes, Mayweather was already a king long before Canelo ever stepped into the ring with him.
I thought took on some pretty tough 154 pounders when it was in a young Canelo and a very tough Cotto who was punching very hard from 40 to 54. You know, remember Cotto had knocked out Delvin Rodriguez at 54. He'd still done some damage at 54, and I thought
won a title at 60.
Yeah, and I thought he knocked out Martinez at 60, and I thought he gave Mayweather a pretty good fight at 54.
Max Kellerman approached the debate with a different perspective. Known for avoiding oversimplified takes, he emphasized that the conversation shouldn't be reduced to comparing a single opponent. Instead, he highlighted how Mayweather built his legacy on pure defensive brilliance, the kind of style that frustrated opponents before the fight even truly began.
Go off for that. No, Floyd, best fighter, in his era. I feel like I'm the best fighter of mine.
Crawford's greatness, Kellerman argued, comes from his ability to switch styles mid-fight, adapt to any situation, and systematically break opponents down in ways rarely seen before. His perspective was less about choosing sides and more about respecting both fighters' unique paths to dominance. In Kellerman's words, it's not about one being above the other, but about recognizing two very different peaks of greatness that happen to arrive one after the other.
Hold him, kept saying, hold him, keep boxing.
Can you see where Bo is?
Then there's Bernard Hopkins, who didn't sugarcoat his thoughts. He credited Crawford, acknowledging that he's as sharp as anyone in the sport right now, but reminded fans of one key factor Crawford has yet to face: Mayweather's psychological edge. According to Hopkins, fighting Floyd was never just about punches. It was about dealing with an opponent who made you doubt yourself every single round. He suggested that part of Crawford's excitement might stem from the fact that he hasn't yet fought someone capable of completely neutralizing his tools. For Hopkins, that's a defining line between being good, being great, and being truly legendary.